This is the app of the month, though. Certainly within my team here in Europe, we've had more traction through this than any other application. The reason for that is there is a global retirement crisis. 35% of adults in Europe and the UK, and it's even more in Mexico, do not have a pension plan. We've seen that pensions across Europe, UK, Latin America are not exactly what they were when, let's say, my granddad or my dad were working. So I ask you a question. Are you happy to rely on the company that you're working today to give you a check when you're 65, 67 and 70, and then you can be able to live the retirement that you're looking for? Do you think that that is a reliable retirement plan? Because I can say that considering that the pension deficit across the world is well into its billions, it's highly probable that that might not be the best way to go. So what many people are doing is actually taking control of their own retirement. Okay, so the average wage each month in Mexico is $2,600 per month, which if we then looked into 15 years, okay, to produce that same level of income, in 15 years' time, you're going to need a pot of money of circa $750,000. So let's just think about that. You're going to need to save $750,000 in the next 15 years, okay? Which means you're going to need to save into a local Mexican bank $4,166. I've got a lot of friends and colleagues in Mexico. That's probably not going to be achievable. So what this app allows you to do is to get access in various currencies, so in dollar, which would probably be preferable, to world-class market-leading fund managers. Fund managers that manage in excess of £4 billion every single year. They've been around since 2010. They're regulated here in the UK by the FCA, and over the past 10 years have a proven track record of achieving circa 7% growth per annum. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate this application. Now, the cool thing about Fintech is it's financial technology. You're not relying on human beings, okay? So you're not relying upon me or James or Aaron or any of your DeVere advisors to be constantly keeping you updated with what's going on in the market. You're also not relying upon local Mexican banks to be letting you know how much money you've got invested. And most importantly, when you get to 65, you're not going to be relying upon a Mexican company to give you a check where you can retire, I don't know, in somewhere beautiful in Mexico rather than not. So as you can see on the first page, this individual has invested 50,000 euros. This example is of a lump sum, but there is a regular premium product out there as well. If I click on the portfolio, again, lifetime real life performance from today's date, the 13th of May. And what this shows is what the markets have been doing, okay? So we can see that this is how the markets have been performing over the past few months. You can see what this fund has done and achieved. Now, considering we've been coming out of a huge crisis with COVID-19, that the last 6 months for this to only have achieved minus 1.96% per annum is a testament to how good linear investments are at managing money, given the stock markets are, minus 10% and even worse. How we do that, though, especially on this one, is taking a cautious approach to investments. So you've got access to fixed income, bonds, multi-asset, equity, which is super important. This will not carry on forever, and hopefully companies will go back to somewhere near the shares when this started, in which case we obviously need exposure to equities. And the regions that are available, again, within this app, it's yours. So you can build your own investment strategy and have linear investments manage it dependent on your attitude to risk. But in this cautious attitude to risk, this is where they feel as though the best spread is to match that. Most people by now will be thinking, but who are Atom Trust and why would I invest money into Atom Trust? I've never heard of them before. How do I know my money will still be there in 15 years' time? Well, this is what you should be thinking. Atom Trust is a trust which will ensure that your money sits outside of your estate and hold it on behalf of your beneficiaries until, God forbid, that your day that you die, or the day that you wish to take a lump sum of money out and sail into Acapulco. The underlying holdings, however, are where we get the growth. So Vanguard, huge fund house, managing billions and billions and billions. We've got UBS in there as well. And we've got DVAM, which is the De Vere Asset Management range. And we can, each individual IFA from the De Vere Group will be able to walk and talk you through what these mean. I think for the purpose of this call though, the most important part is all of these exchange traded funds, your money each month will not be invested into Atom or Linear. It actually sits in Barclays Bank, and Barclays Bank is the custodian bank for Linear investments. And then from that money in Barclays, they invest into these financial instruments to get you that 6, 7, 8% targeted growth per annum. And the reason that they do that is because if you were having to save into a Mexican bank account to generate you the level of income required to have the same level of income as you've got today, you'd have to invest $4,166 per month. But if you invested via Atom and got circa 7% as a compound interest, then you'd only have to invest circa $1,500 per month, which means that it's a more palatable investment each month than constantly betting the house and waiting until you get to 60 for that dream retirement. Now, all of this is possible simply by downloading an application, having a discussion with your local advisor or with myself through Zoom, and we can go through what would be an individual bespoke discussion regarding your financial planning, see where you are today, where you want to be, wherever you want to retire in Mexico, work out how much money you're going to need, and then we can introduce you to the app which could get you there, whether that's Catalyst, De Vere Investment, or my personal favorite, which is Atom.
Do subscribe, hit the button.